Our class was voting for the school beauty, and I got the most votes. My childhood friend mocked everyone for being blind and posted my ugliest photos on the confession wall. He's always been this contradictory. On the surface, he'd call me ugly, but behind my back, he'd scrimp and save to buy me the most expensive, most beautiful dresses, just like how he'd say I was as dumb as a pig, yet still tutor me while grumbling the whole time. My friends said he was just a tsundere, deep down. He'd long been hopelessly in love with me, so when he caught me kissing the new transfer student, he nearly lost his mind. Why him? Because he told me I'm beautiful. Justin's voice turned dark. Just because of that? I shook my head, my tone sincere. Not just that. Smart, resilient, warm, 1,000 beautiful adjectives. At 18, when I was at my lowest, self-conscious, awkward, and invisible, I met someone who gave me unwavering love and validation. All things that Justin, my childhood friend, never once admitted to giving. Chapter 1. The results of the monthly exam were out. I ranked 20th in the entire school, 30 places higher than last time. Holding my score report, I skipped lunch and went to find Justin. He had said that if I made it into the top 20, he'd set aside an entire day just to take me to the movies. Blushing with excitement, I couldn't contain my joy, but as I reached the classroom door, I heard voices from inside. I'm voting for Sophia. She's tall, fair-skinned, first time I saw her. I was stunned. Totally agree. She's definitely the school beauty. I dare anyone to find someone better looking. Sucks that she's so cold though. Doesn't talk to people. Otherwise, I'd have gone after her already. That face. Man. Justin, you're the lucky one. Childhood friends with Sophia. She only sticks to you. I'm so jealous. Bro. As they gossiped, the topic shifted, with a goddess like her around. Justin, you're not tempted? Come on. Admit it, you've got a thing for Sophia, right? I stopped reaching for the door, unconsciously holding my breath. How would Justin respond? Would he admit it or deny it? Knowing him, he'd deny it instantly. He's always been awkward and prickly. Even though I'd already found the love letter he secretly wrote to me, we both pretended that line hadn't been crossed. Neither of us said anything, so a denial would be normal. Things are stressful now. Confessing can wait until after the college entrance exams. Shy but eager, I still wanted to hear what he'd say. Justin must have been doing practice questions. I heard pages flipping. Sophia? School beauty? Are you guys blind? What's pretty about her? The room went silent for a second before Justin kept going. Her legs are huge. None of you noticed? That pale skin? All from skincare products. Someone couldn't help defending me. She's not even 100 pounds. How are her legs huge? Justin scoffed and pulled out a few photos. She used to be almost 200 pounds in middle school. All that flab, so gross. I seriously don't get how you guys can like a walking tank. The girl in the photo was in a ridiculously oversized school uniform. Bare-faced, clumsy, eyes full of insecurity and shame. Photos Justin had secretly taken without telling me, back when I was buried in stress, overweight, and at my most insecure and awkward. The others immediately exploded. Yikes. That's brutal. She's gotta be the ugliest girl in school history. Look at all those pimples. Makes me want to puke. I'm taking my vote back. No way I want someone like her as school beauty. She must have had plastic surgery. Looks like she changed her entire face. No wonder you won't confess to her. Justin, if my girlfriend had a fake face, I'd be embarrassed too. Who'd want to date a tank like that? I'd laugh at him forever. Someone asked curiously, how did Sophia even lose all that weight? My thoughts drifted. I was pulled back into the past, back when I was shunned for being fat. Justin, my childhood friend, was the only one who didn't abandon me. He called me a pig, but slipped me a gym membership after school, whether it was the dead of winter or the sweltering summer. He was always there on the track, running with me, so I always thought Justin was just saying the opposite of what he meant. Tough on the outside, soft on the inside. At my loneliest, he was my only light. But it turns out Justin really did think I was disgusting. Why else would he still have those ugly photos after 3 years? Ready to show everyone? The past I tried so hard to hide. The rainy season I worked so hard to move beyond. now being dragged out into the light, bloody and merciless. I heard someone sneer. Probably lost weight with diet pills. They're everywhere now. Who knows what side effects they have? She might bounce back to 300 pounds next week. And then what? At 300 pounds, the school's gonna need to make her a 10XL uniform. How much fabric would that take? Ha ha ha. Sometimes, words are the sharpest weapons in the world. I clenched the score sheet in my hands and was about to slip away unnoticed. But then a confused voice called from behind me. Sophia? Why are you standing at the door? Why don't you come in? The classroom went dead silent in an instant. Chapter 2. The one speaking was the class monitor from Justin's class. I took a deep breath, lowered my head, and found an excuse. I left something here. The class monitor smiled knowingly. You came to find Justin, right? He's in the classroom. I'll call him out. As he spoke, he had already pushed open the classroom door. No wonder he thought that way. After all, I wasn't talkative and had a quiet personality. Apart from my own classmates, I was only close with Justin. Before the monitor could say anything, Justin had already walked over. He looked at me, eyes a little uneasy. When did you get here? Just now. Justin seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, then frowned. I told you not to come to my class. If there's something, talk to me after school. Every time you show up, the boys in class all. He trailed off mid-sentence, as if realizing he had said too much. But I wasn't really listening. After hearing all those cruel, mocking words earlier, it was hard to even face Justin. My chest ached the moment our eyes met. So I lied. I didn't come to see you. Everyone around looked over in surprise. Justin froze too, looking like he couldn't believe what he'd just heard. His expression darkened instantly, but I avoided his gaze and pressed my lips together. I came to find him. I looked toward a figure sitting quietly on the edge of the crowd. It was the transfer student who had joined just last week, sharp-featured and aloof. The only boy who hadn't joined in the mockery earlier. Dominic. I need to talk to you. Can you come out for a moment? Chapter 3. We walked to the garden together. Only then did the awkwardness slowly hit me. Dominic didn't say anything. He leaned casually to the side, quietly waiting. I took out the math exam paper that was tucked inside my score report. The last problem on the test, our teacher said only a few people in the whole school solved it. Could you help me understand it? Honestly, I was going to ask Justin to explain it. He was one of the few who got it right. Justin always said I was dumb, especially in math, told me I had no talent. But he still made time to tutor me, going over every problem I got wrong. Dominic had a cold face. But surprisingly, he was easy to talk to. With a clear, calm voice, he pointed at the question and began explaining step by step. The question was really hard. After the first explanation, I still didn't fully get it. I hesitated, then asked nervously if he could go over it one more time. Dominic's fingers paused. He looked up at me, and I immediately apologized. Sorry, it's okay if you don't want to. It's my fault for being too slow. Wasting your time. Dominic cut me off. You're not dumb. Getting this far means you're actually really smart. I had only lost 3 points on the final problem, just missed the last step. Justin would have never looked at it that way. He always said I was hopeless. To him, losing 3 points was no different than getting it completely wrong. It was the first time someone had ever called me smart. I murmured a soft thanks. Not only did Dominic explain my mistakes, but he also taught me some test-taking strategies. Everyone said the new transfer student was arrogant, cold, and hard to approach. But watching his serious profile now, I thought he wasn't that cold at all. Just as we were about to part ways, I received a message. Sophia, check the school website. Someone just anonymously posted your photo. It was the ugly picture Justin had shown earlier, now plastered right on the homepage, right next to the poll where I was voted school beauty. The comments section had exploded. Some said the photo was fake. Others insisted it was real. The discussion quickly turned to how I had changed so drastically. Just like the whispers in the classroom, most people assumed I'd had plastic surgery. My screen filled with vile speculation and insults. As if burned, I instinctively shut off my phone screen. Teachers, classmates from my class and others, so many people had seen it. Did they all believe what the comments were saying? My legs began to feel weak. The world blurred around me. Just as I was about to collapse, a strong arm caught me firmly. Dominic looked down at me without saying a word. My eyes were a little wet. After he helped me steady myself, I suddenly spoke softly. I didn't have plastic surgery. I didn't take diet pills either. Chapter 4. A soft breeze scattered the strands of hair that had fallen loose from behind my ears. It also brushed gently against my slightly reddened eyes. When he saw my tears, Dominic's pupils constricted slightly. He was silent for a while, then suddenly asked, "Why are you telling me this?" I didn't know why either. The words had just spilled out without thinking. Maybe because he was the only one in the classroom who hadn't joined in the mockery earlier. So how did he really see me? Would he believe what I said? "You don't have to explain. Not to me. Not to anyone." My voice was low. "But the photo is real. I really was fat back then. I don't know how to explain that." Dominic handed me a tissue in silence. "They're spreading rumors without any proof. So why do you need to explain anything?" I had expected Dominic to be cold and dismissive, or maybe to offer some polite, distant words of comfort. But instead, he simply asked that question. His tone so calm, as if genuinely confused about why I was even bothered. And just like that, my noisy, panicked heart settled under his quiet gaze. "I guess you're right," Dominic hummed in agreement, folding my test paper and handing it back to me. "If you ever have questions, feel free to ask me." I hesitated. "Won't I be bothering you?" "You won't. You're smart, and your thinking is flexible. Some of your unconventional approaches actually gave me new ideas too." Was that a compliment, or just being polite? But Dominic's voice was so casual and sincere. Realizing that, I softly said, "Thank you." Meanwhile, the post on the school forum was still gaining traction. The backlash was getting worse. Dominic looked down at me, his tone even. "Do you need me to step in and testify?" I saw who posted the photo and started the rumors. I was in the classroom the whole time. "Sophia, you don't need to explain yourself. But the ones who did wrong, they need to face consequences." Chapter 5. I went to the police, and Dominic testified for me. The comment section trolls and those spreading rumors among students were taken in one by one. The person who uploaded the photo was soon tracked down through their online ID. It wasn't Justin, but the name was familiar. One of his classmates, someone who always hung out with him. It was obvious who had given him the picture. The police acted fast. Soon, the students' parents came to me, bowing and apologizing, begging me to drop the matter quietly and not let it blow up online. In the end, the school stepped in. Every post filled with malice and slander was deleted. Everyone involved received formal disciplinary records and had to pay me compensation. They also had to handwrite apology letters and read them aloud on Monday under the national flag. My homeroom teacher called me to the office to check in on me. "Don't let all this affect you. The college entrance exams are coming up. Focus on preparing well." "Oh right. I remember your dream school was Peking University. So you should really." "It's not," I interrupted. "I'm not applying to Peking University anymore. My goal is a university in the South." I cut her off mid-sentence. I used to have the same goal as Justin. I was his most loyal follower. If he went to Beijing, I'd go to Beijing too. If he aimed for Peking University, I had to aim for it too. But now, I thought of that photo, and Justin's mocking words. That cold indifference that still ached in my chest. I didn't want to see him again. I didn't want to go to Peking University, and I didn't want to stay in the North anymore. Chapter 6. After that day, I started avoiding Justin. I no longer ate with him or asked him to tutor me, since we weren't in the same class. Once I started deliberately keeping my distance, our chances of seeing each other became almost non-existent. It was only then that I realized every past encounter had depended entirely on my effort. Just like those people said, I wasn't outgoing, a little introverted, barely interacted with anyone outside my class. Justin had been the person I was closest to, and the only one I had ever taken the initiative to approach. After school, Justin stood at the school gate. Our eyes met. His face was tense. He shifted his feet, about to walk toward me. But I had already gotten into the car. My family had arranged a driver to pick me up, even though Justin and I grew up together. After I turned 10, my dad's business took off. and we gradually became well off, eventually moving to a villa neighborhood. But Justin still squeezed into a hot, cramped apartment in an old inner-city area with his family. In the past, to keep him company and protect his pride, I always took the bus home with him, and only got picked up by the driver after we got off. But now, there was no need for that anymore. The scenery outside the window flashed by quickly. I caught a glimpse of Justin's face, ashen with fury. His eyes followed the car intensely. Expression dark, lost in thought. Chapter 7. After transferring to our school, Dominic had always kept to himself, quiet and low profile, so it wasn't until recently that I realized we lived in the same residential complex. His family was busy with work and rarely at home. Dominic pretty much lived on his own. We made an agreement to do our homework together every day in the neighborhood's reading room. When Justin used to tutor me, he'd get impatient quickly. One wrong digit, and he'd call me an idiot. Once, he scolded me so harshly I cried for half an hour. Justin just stood there coldly, no trace of guilt or comfort. He had said, "You're so dumb, like your brain never developed, and when you cry, you look even worse." After that day, no matter how upset I got, I forced myself not to cry again. Dominic tapped the paper with his long fingers. "This is a clever approach. You have a natural talent for math. You just need a bit more patience. Next time, be more careful with your calculations, okay?" Dominic always spoke to me like that. Okay? Would that be all right? Can you do that? His brows were sharp, and his features a little intimidating, but he never once raised his voice at me. He said I was smart, said I worked hard, said my logic was solid. After I went to the police, almost no one around me supported the decision. They thought I was stirring up trouble, being dramatic, making enemies. Only Dominic stayed by my side at the police station, running around to help. When it was all over, he handed me an ice cream and said, "Sophia, you're really brave. People online say most pretty girls are confident and cheerful, but I'm not." Being overweight during adolescence left a deep, sensitive scar I couldn't erase. So when someone praised me like that, my cheeks flushed with warmth. I felt shy, but I couldn't help being happy. "I still haven't properly thanked you for last time," I said. "This Sunday, would you like to go see a movie with me?" Dominic's expression softened. "Sure." I pressed my lips together, then smiled too, dimples faintly appearing on both sides of my cheeks. Chapter 8. When Sunday came, I picked out a yellow dress. When Dominic saw me, he froze for a second, his ears turned red instantly. He looked away, clearly flustered at first. "It's the first time I've seen you wear a dress." At school, everyone was required to wear uniforms, and though our prestigious high school didn't have the ugliest ones, they were far from flattering. I nervously twisted my fingers, asking carefully, "What's wrong? Does it not look good?" I suddenly remembered what Justin once said when I wore a dress around him. "Fat waist, thick legs, Sophia. Can you not show off that horrible body of yours? I don't want to be seen walking around with a pig." Regret surged through me. I almost turned around to change, but Dominic said, "You look beautiful. Your skin is fair, and yellow suits you really well." He was always calm and composed, voice flat and emotionless no matter what he said. But in that moment, he looked straight at me, his tone unusually sincere, like the first bloom of forsythia in spring, bright, full of life. We had a wonderful time that day. On the car ride home, I opened my shopping cart and finally checked out a few dresses I'd been eyeing for a long time. After saying goodbye to Dominic, I found myself humming softly, walking home with a light bounce in my step. But as I turned a corner, I saw Justin. He stood beneath a tall, leafy tree, a few fallen leaves caught on his shoulder. He looked up at me. I had no idea how long he'd been waiting. Chapter 9. Didn't I tell you not to wear dresses? Justin stormed over in a few quick strides, face dark with anger. "High school is for studying. Who told you to dress like that? Always showing off your collarbone and legs. Who exactly are you trying to attract? That idiot who confessed to you last week? Or those brainless morons in my class who freeze whenever you walk past?" His words came down like a slap, harsh, aggressive, out of nowhere. I didn't understand why he said those things. After I lost weight, It took me a long time to gather the courage to wear dresses again. Back then, Justin hadn't objected. In fact, every time he saw me, his ears would flush and he'd look away. Then came the school talent show. I wore a red dress and danced on stage. That night, the school confession wall exploded. People were fighting just to get my contact info. After that, Justin changed. He started saying I looked ugly, that I had no self-awareness, that I had no business wearing skirts. I cried for nights over those words. But now, I didn't want to listen to Justin anymore. I like it. It's none of your business. Move. I'm going home. It was the first time I'd ever talked back to him. He froze for a second, then finally asked, "Sophia, are you still mad at me?" He didn't say which incident, but we both knew what he meant. I didn't answer. I shoved past him and kept walking. My steps slowed unconsciously. Just a little, but even after I walked quite far, I never heard a single footstep behind me. I let out a bitter little laugh. I thought I had already moved on. But clearly, some small part of me was still hoping Justin would apologize, hoping he'd say the photo had been leaked by accident. I wiped my eyes, pushing that sour ache deep down inside. But it's okay. Once the college entrance exams are over and I move to the South, we'll never see each other again. Chapter 10. Dominic and I were getting closer and closer. Since his parents had been transferred to the South, he was also planning to apply to a university there, so we became almost inseparable, talking about school, college, and everything in between. The third time we ran into Justin in the cafeteria, he completely lost it. He suddenly walked over and punched Dominic in the face. Dominic reacted fast, raising his arm to block and instantly striking back. Chaos broke out around us. I pushed through the crowd and stepped in front of Dominic. Someone had already called for the security guards, and angry voices were echoing from the distance. Blood was trickling from the corner of Justin's mouth. When he saw me shielding Dominic like that, he suddenly laughed. "So between me and him, you choose him?" I didn't answer. I simply turned to ask Dominic if he was okay. Both of them had suffered minor injuries, so we were taken to the infirmary for treatment. I carefully dabbed antiseptic on Dominic's wound, my voice filled with guilt. "I'm sorry. I dragged you into this. Justin's not usually this aggressive." There was a dark bruise forming along Dominic's neck. "Don't apologize to me on his behalf," he said. "You didn't do anything wrong." But my guilt only deepened. I really don't know what got into him. Everything had happened so fast, completely without warning. I genuinely didn't understand why Justin, normally so calm, would suddenly turn violent. "It's because I'm with you. Justin doesn't want you getting close to me." I froze. "Why not?" Dominic replied. "Because he thinks we're dating. He doesn't want you involved with me." I stammered. "Why would he think that? We're just talking about school. You just see me as a friend, right? How is that dating?" Dominic interrupted me. Sunlight poured in from the window, casting a soft glow over his sharp features. "I don't see you as a friend." His eyes were clearer than the sky as he looked straight into mine. "I like you. Isn't it obvious?" Chapter 11. I practically ran out of the room. Outside the door, I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. Dominic. How could Dominic say something like that? It was so sudden, completely out of the blue. And the scariest part was, I pressed a hand to my chest. My heart was still pounding wildly, out of control. It felt like I didn't hate hearing it at all. Chapter 12. I went to the room next door. Justin was more seriously injured. His head had split open and needed stitches. I watched silently as the doctor treated him, waiting to make sure it wasn't anything serious. Then I turned to leave with the doctor, but Justin called out to me from behind. "I bought you a gift. Don't you want to see it?" It was a light blue dress, delicately made. With a unique design, it was also from the brand I often wore. A dress like that cost 3,000 yuan. I got a size S. "Try it on. If it doesn't fit, I can go back and exchange it." Justin didn't come from a well-off family. His mother was sick, his grandmother bedridden, his father's low construction wage supported them all. Justin had gotten into the school through a special academic excellence quota. His tuition and housing were covered, and he received a small stipend. But after class, he still worked tirelessly at part-time jobs to help support his family. 15 yuan an hour. 4 hours a day. Buying this dress would have taken him 2 months of saving and struggle. His affection for me was always buried, hidden in his endless tutoring sessions. And in this expensive, beautiful dress, paid for with sweat and exhaustion, I was quiet for a long time, then asked, "Justin, is this your way of apologizing?" The past we shared wasn't fake. I was willing to give him one last chance. But Justin looked away and dodged the question. The college entrance exam is around the corner. You can't let boys around you distract you. That school beauty vote was a joke. Your old photos being exposed wasn't a bad thing. See? No one's trying to confess to you now. And it's not like the photos were fake. You were fat and ugly. They called you a tank because it was true. Sophia, grow up. Stop being so childish. Compliments are traps. They'll ruin you. What you need is discipline, harshness. You don't need to be pretty. You don't need the hollow title of school beauty. Being called ugly is for your own protection. You're not smart. If you let this affect you, with your IQ, there's no way you'll get into Peking University. So stop being moody. This is the only time I'll humor you. Push it too far, and there'll be consequences. Drip, drip. I thought it had started raining outside, but the sun was shining brightly through the window. Then I felt a chill on my collarbone, and only then realized I was crying. So all those things you said, you meant them? Justin said nothing. He looked away, like my words had burned him. All the ridicule, the mockery, the harsh sarcasm. Turns out they were his real opinions of me. To him, I was that worthless. I threw the dress to the floor and turned to leave. "If you really want my apology," Justin said casually, "wait until we're in college. On the first day, I'll give it to you. I've been holding on to a letter, wrote it over 3 years. I'll give it to you then. You'll see. Everything I did was right. I'll protect you for the rest of your life." That letter, was it the love letter Justin had hidden? He didn't know that by chance. I had already seen it once. It had been carefully placed, each word written with such caution. I had waited for him to give it to me, and that wait had lasted 3 years. Okay, I agreed. This time, Justin didn't stop me from leaving, but I had lied. I wasn't going to Peking University, and on the first day of school, Justin wouldn't see me. A letter undelivered at the right moment meant nothing when it came too late. Justin had to get into Peking University. The city and a sponsoring company had promised him a 200,000 yuan reward. But that was his university. Only his. Chapter 13. The college entrance exam was over. On the day the results came out, Dominic and I were sitting in a cafe, checking our scores together. When I saw my results, I wasn't surprised. I missed the admission cutoff for Peking University by just 2 points, but I still qualified for any top-tier program at the most prestigious university in the South. Dominic scored 3 points lower than me. In the end, we applied to the same university, but in different majors. Once our school choices were confirmed, I went on a graduation trip with some friends. When I came back, it was almost time for college to start. I booked a plane ticket for the following week. While packing my things, I got a phone call. It was one of Justin's friends, sounding annoyed. "Hey, Sophia, come on. It's fine to throw a tantrum, but acting like a diva just makes things awkward for everyone. You're skipping the graduation dinner and Justin's celebration party for getting into Peking University? Don't you think that's a bit much?" I replied coldly. "Are we even that close? Why should I go?" He choked for a second, then grumbled. "Wow, really? Still mad about the photo thing?" I only said a couple words along with everyone else. I wrote that apology letter. Took the punishment. You don't have to hold a grudge forever. I couldn't even be bothered to argue. I just hung up and blocked his number. That afternoon, a delivery arrived at my door. It was a bouquet of especially fresh and beautiful yellow roses. I checked the sender information and called the number. It was Justin. The moment I heard his voice, I wanted to hang up, but looking down at the roses in my arms, I pressed my lips together and asked, "Did you send these?" He must have been smoking. I could hear the click of a lighter. After a pause, he finally spoke, sounding casual and indifferent. "Flowers? What flowers? Are they nice?" I didn't know what game Justin was trying to play now, so I calmly replied, "Not really. You shouldn't send any more. Even if I throw them away, it'll just cause trouble for someone else. There was a beat of silence before Justin spoke again. Sophia, you didn't actually think I sent you those flowers, did you? His voice turned overly exaggerated, like he'd just heard a hilarious joke. They were from someone congratulating me for getting into Peking University. I just put in the wrong address. I nodded knowingly. Then tell them to buy another one. I'll toss this one. Somehow. That set him off. The fake lighthearted tone vanished, replaced by irritation barely masked as indignation. Are you serious right now? You've been hiding out at home ever since the exam ended. And now you're saying stuff like this? I genuinely didn't understand what was so offensive about me saying I'd throw out the flowers. He was the one who sent them to the wrong address. What? Was I supposed to pay to forward them to him? Justin took a deep breath. His voice lowered again, more composed this time. I don't believe you can hide in your house forever. When the semester starts, be ready to face me. Then he hung up. I pressed my lips together, unsure how to respond for a moment. But Justin was wrong. I'd already booked my flight. Next week, I was flying south. I wasn't going to Peking University, and he wasn't going to see me again. Chapter 14. The moment my plane touched down, I saw the person who had come to pick me up. My mom had already purchased an apartment near the university, and everything inside had been cleaned and prepared. After I woke up from a nap, I received a message from my best friend. She sounded a bit gossipy. Rumor has it Justin's planning to confess to you on the first day of school with 999 roses. No less. I sighed. I already have a boyfriend. After the college entrance exams, I'd started dating Dominic. We just hadn't made it public yet. Justin's outburst and the way he suddenly hit someone had really shaken me. So I had only told my best friend about my change in university plans and my new relationship. I was planning to announce it after school started. My best friend scoffed a little. Where was all this effort before? Too late for confessions now. We're at the same school. Sophia, I'll live stream it for you. Let's see what Justin actually does. Sure enough, on the first day of school, she started a live stream. I could hear the noisy crowd behind her. Then the camera flipped, and I saw Justin's stiff expression. His hair was styled back, showing off his sharp features. He looked like he'd made an effort to dress up. But for some reason, he seemed anxious. His eyes kept darting around, like he was searching for someone. I heard someone nearby urging, "Freshman, finish registration and keep moving. Don't block the entrance." Justin held a massive bouquet of roses in one hand and a bag in the other. From the logo on the bag, I recognized it. It was the same dress I'd thrown on the ground before. My friend gossiped in my ear. He's been standing there since 8 a.m. Hasn't moved. Skipped lunch too. Some seniors even went over to ask what he was doing. He just said he was waiting for someone. TSK. Like she's ever gonna show up. In the video, Justin looked pale. He'd been standing under the sun for hours. Even the strongest person would struggle with that. I saw him look down. It looked like he was trying to make a phone call. But I had changed my number. No matter how many times he dialed, he'd never get through. I closed the live stream. I didn't want anything more to do with Justin, and I didn't care what was written in that love letter. Whether Justin was emotionally conflicted or just too stubborn to speak plainly, none of it mattered to me anymore. But even when I tried not to pay attention, I always ended up hearing things anyway. My best friend suddenly called me again. Justin went back to our high school. He asked the teachers for the list of college admissions, and just like that, I knew. He would soon find out I'd come south. There was no hiding it anymore. Chapter 15. As expected, I saw Justin again, sooner than I had hoped. It was a Saturday. Dominic and I were walking through the garden. I wasn't sure who leaned in first, but before I realized it, he had pressed a kiss to my cheek. I couldn't help teasing him. "You're such a coward." He'd clearly been overthinking it forever, and just when I was about to lose patience, all he managed was a shy peck on the cheek. Dominic's Adam's apple bobbed. His voice was barely audible. "I'm not scared." I smiled, reached up with one hand, and tugged him down by the neck. Then I kissed him. "So you were baiting me, hoping I'd make the first move." That was when Justin appeared. Someone came rushing over, shouting my name. I looked up, and saw a face twisted in fury. On the edge of losing control, Justin was holding a bouquet, his hands trembling with rage. The flowers fell to the ground, scattering petals everywhere. Dominic! Who the hell gave you the right to kiss her? Justin's eyes were wild. He lunged toward Dominic, fist already mid-swing. I stepped between them, gently pressing down on Dominic's raised hand to stop him from striking back. Just wait a second. Let me talk to him alone, okay? Dominic's dark eyes lingered on mine for a few moments before he nodded. I'll be right over there. If anything happens, just call my name. After sending Dominic away, I turned back, only to meet Justin's bloodshot eyes. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. There were heavy circles under his eyes. And even with his carefully styled appearance, he looked completely worn out. He stared straight at me, voice cracking just slightly. You stood in front of him again? Sophia, between him and me, you chose him again. Chapter 16. Sometimes, I really couldn't understand Justin. He was always like this, moody and unpredictable. Just like now. His eyes were red, stubbornly accusing me with a wounded expression. To anyone who didn't know the full story, it probably looked like I had wronged him, like I was some cold-hearted villain who had hurt him so deeply he was falling apart. But what exactly had I done? I stared into Justin's eyes, my voice calm. Why did I protect him? Because he's my boyfriend. If I'm not going to protect him, should I protect you instead? Justin, when did you become so completely unreasonable? The words he used to describe me, I returned to him without hesitation. It was like a heavy blow had landed square in his chest. He went pale in an instant. His voice faltered. Boyfriend? I was supposed to be your boyfriend. We agreed, didn't we, that we'd go to the same university together? Why? Why would you betray me, betray what we promised? It turns out, when you're too stunned to be angry, the only reaction left is laughter. Boyfriend? You? I don't remember ever dating you. You weren't even my ex. My words seemed to jolt him back to reality. He pulled something out in a rush, like it was his last hope. Yes, we did. I wrote you this love letter 3 years ago. I thought we were already together, we just hadn't made it official yet. This kind of vague, unspoken relationship, no, I don't accept that. I cut him off. You never gave me that letter. Justin, I never accepted it. Everything you believed, it was just in your head. You were lying to yourself, deluding yourself. To say I never had expectations would be a lie. When I first saw that letter, I was overjoyed. One of the most beautiful things in the world is mutual love. I thought I was the luckiest girl in the world. But I waited, day after day, year after year. And all I got was Justin mocking me in front of the class for my thick legs and ugliness. All I got was him posting my photo on the school's website. All I got was public humiliation, rumors, and him calling me indecent, saying I liked to tempt people. So I said, I never liked you. Justin, stop flattering yourself. Chapter 17. Justin's voice trembled. Then why did you choose Dominic? What does he have that I don't? I thought for a moment, maybe because he said I'm beautiful. Justin looked at me in disbelief. Just because of that? I shook my head, my tone serious. Not just that. He also called me smart, strong, radiant, 1,000 beautiful words. At 18, when I was insecure, sensitive, and invisible beneath my dull, clumsy shell, I met someone who offered me unconditional admiration and love. And that was something Justin never once admitted I deserved. Justin stared at me for a long time, then suddenly let out a bitter laugh. His eyes were red as he snapped. That's just an excuse. You chose him because he's rich, didn't you? His voice turned low, almost sinister. You were fat and outcast. So you clung to me, but then your family got rich. You lost weight, and suddenly, I wasn't good enough anymore. So now you flirt with every guy, collecting confessions like trophies. You dumped me because I'm poor. Dominic's rich. So you shamelessly. Smack. The sound cracked through the air as I slapped him hard across the face. His head whipped to the side. It was like the blow finally snapped him out of it. He looked up at me, dazed, then started apologizing. Sophia. I didn't mean it like that. Please. Give me a chance. I promise I'll be successful. I won't let you suffer. People online have a word for someone like Justin: emotionally toxic, possessive, jealous, insecure, constantly teetering between pride and panic. So they wrap themselves in sarcasm, hide their hearts, and use insults as a filter for people they believe truly love them. Clearly, I didn't pass his test. And the truth is, Justin and I did have good memories. Back in middle school, when some kids locked me in a bathroom, it was Justin who hunted them down after school and beat them up one by one for revenge. His family was poor, but he never once let it affect my quality of life. He drank tap water brought from home, but still bought me a bubble tea that cost 28 yuan. That expensive dress he gave me, he never bragged about how hard he worked to afford it. I know Justin cared about me. I know he liked me. But Justin never knew how to express it. He couldn't lower his pride, couldn't admit his feelings. He always hid behind cruel words. Justin, I'm not what you say I am. I'm beautiful, brave, resilient, and smart. I have friends. I have people who love me. I'm not the idiot you made me out to be. I'm not some 200-pound wreck trapped in the past. Justin's lips trembled. In the end, all he managed to whisper was, I'm sorry. I had waited years for those words, so long that I no longer wanted them. Not when both of us were already scarred beyond repair. I shook my head and turned to leave. Behind me, Justin's voice cracked again, desperate. Can't we start over? I swear I'll change. Sophia, just give me one more chance. I didn't respond. Someone stepped into the sunlight and walked toward me. Dominic pulled me into his arms, his gaze cool as it swept over Justin. Hand in hand, we walked away together, because if a simple apology could erase years of heartbreak and humiliation, then I'd rather not accept it at all. I don't regret my past with Justin. It was real, and it helped shape who I am. But now, I have to look forward. Some people cover love with harshness and pride, pushing you farther away with every word. Others show affection boldly, openly, never holding back their admiration. Justin once told me I needed tough love, harsh words to test whether someone cared. But Dominic told me, I look at the world and see ordinary trees, but when I look at you, I see the mountain. Story 2. My boyfriend has a pursuer. She's not attractive, and her overall situation is pretty average. Yet she's been devoted to him for 10 years. At first, he was annoyed by her and constantly told her to get lost. But later, I saw the name he had saved for her on his phone. He called her, Sweetie. Chapter 1. While Sam and I were getting intimate, his phone suddenly rang, breathless. He lifted his head from my lips, irritation clear in his furrowed brows as he angrily pulled out his phone from his pocket. Who the hell is this? I followed his gaze. It was an unsaved number, but we both knew exactly whose call it was. Sure enough, he frowned, but still answered the call, snapping, What the hell is wrong with you? Can't you stop bothering me? From the other side, I heard a soft sobbing. Sam, I didn't mean to, but there's a guy who's been following me. I'm really scared. Sam froze, glanced at me, then replied irritably, What do you expect me to do about it? Call the police. Without waiting for her reply, he hung up the phone amidst her cries. Let's get back to it, he said, almost too quickly, as if trying to cover something up. But in the kiss that followed, I could sense his distraction. Even as we kissed, his brow remained furrowed, as though his body was with me, but his mind had drifted elsewhere. Moments later, his phone rang again. Sam looked at me, hesitated, then answered. Didn't I just tell you? Valentina's trembling voice came through. Please. I'm really scared. He's been following me. Her helpless, tear-filled voice made Sam sit up abruptly. Where are you? After she said something, he immediately jumped up, grabbing his jacket, ready to leave. Then, as if remembering I was still lying on the bed watching him, he awkwardly turned to me and said, Layla, wait for me. It's just a girl in trouble. She's not safe. Without waiting for my response, he rushed out the door. I stared at the closed door for a while, then slowly pulled the blanket up. How many times has this happened? I've lost count. Sam and I have been together for 7 years, and for those same 7 years, Valentina has been entangled with him. When Sam and I first got together, we were in high school. I was the top student, and he was second in the class, and the school's notorious troublemaker. He sat behind me, always tugging at my ponytail or poking my back, but he'd also bring me bubble tea, and when I had stomach cramps, he'd buy me a hot water bottle. At our graduation party, Sam walked up to me, and the whole class started to cheer. I still remember how his cheeks were flushed, but his eyes sparkled like stars in the night sky, so bright. They were mesmerizing. "Layla," he said, smiling, his eyes full of warmth. "I like you. Do you want to be with me?" When I said yes, everyone cheered, except for Valentina. She ran out crying, but no one paid attention. It was common knowledge that Valentina liked Sam. Every time I was joking around with Sam, she'd be in the corner, silently watching him. She'd bring him bubble tea, but he'd always give it to me. She wrote love letters to Sam on scented pink stationery, slipping them into his desk, but Sam would tear them up and throw them away every time. It was equally well known that Sam didn't like Valentina, because she was simply too unremarkable. She was plain, with sallow skin covered in freckles, small eyes, and unremarkable features. She was always at the bottom of the class, wore oversized glasses, and kept to herself, folding paper cranes for Sam in the corners of the classroom. Compared to us, she was just too ordinary. At the time, I thought Valentina was nothing more than a small, inconsequential part of our relationship. Sam was attractive, and there was no shortage of girls lining up to like him. I'd seen it happen more times than I could count. Sam didn't like her, so I assumed she would give up, just like the others. But I never expected her to cling to Sam for 7 years. From when we were 18 until we turned 25, Valentina clung to Sam like a ghost that couldn't move on. First, she attended the same city college as us, showing up every day to bring him breakfast. After graduation, she pulled some strings to stay in the same city, calling Sam constantly for every little thing. At first, I didn't care. Valentina posed no threat to me. Sam was clearly irritated with her. He insulted her, told her to get lost, blocked her number. At his worst, he even yelled at her, "Are you stupid? I told you I don't like you. Can't you understand plain language? Aren't you embarrassed? Do you have no self-respect at all?" But none of it fazed Valentina. She kept coming back, time and time again. Somehow, though, things began to change. I just didn't know when. I rolled over and stared at the ceiling. When did it start? When did Sam stop blocking Valentina? His attitude was still harsh, yet he answered every one of her calls. Now, with just one word from her, he'd drop everything and rush off to find her. I reassured myself, telling myself I was overthinking it. Compared to me, Valentina was neither beautiful nor exceptional. She hadn't changed at all since high school, still the same freckle-faced girl with glasses, working as a clerk at some small company, earning $3,500 a month. Meanwhile, I had modeled in college and now worked as an assistant to a manager at a publicly traded company. I glanced at the wrinkled bed sheets beside me, already cold from Sam leaving in such a hurry. He couldn't actually like her, right? I hoped. Chapter 2. Sam didn't come home the entire night. As the night dragged on, my heart sank lower and lower. It wasn't until early the next morning when he finally pushed open the door, looking utterly exhausted. "So ridiculous," he muttered, and with just those words, everything I had wanted to say disappeared. He sat down next to me, grumbling with frustration. "You have no idea. She was just playing me. Some nonsense about being followed. I mean, seriously, who in their right mind would stalk someone who looks like that?" His attitude eased some of my anxiety, and I leaned in closer. "I think she's really affecting our lives. Can you just stop dealing with her next time?" Sam gave a bitter smile. "You think I want to deal with her? She keeps changing her number, calling me. It's impossible to block her completely. Don't worry. We're getting engaged soon. I'll make sure to clear things up with her. It's getting way too annoying." I nodded, feeling a little better. But then I noticed that Sam was only wearing the t-shirt from last night. His jacket was missing. "Where's your jacket?" I frowned. "Oh," he said nonchalantly. "Probably left it at her place." "Forget it. Not worth going back for. I don't want to get tangled up with her again. We didn't invite Valentina to our engagement party. No one knew what kind of chaos she might cause. So we didn't even post about it on social media. We only told close friends privately. Yet somehow, she found out and showed up anyway. As Sam and I stood at the entrance greeting our guests, she walked over with a strained smile. 7 years of dating, and you finally made it to the finish line. Congratulations. It seemed like she had made a special effort to put on makeup today. But the result was worse than before. Her eyebrows were painted too dark. Her lips were a garish red. She had managed to cover her freckles, but her face was deathly pale, like a ghostly figure, something out of a nightmare. And she was wearing a white gown, as if she were the bride at this engagement, with Sam's familiar jacket draped over her shoulders. My smile faltered, but I still tried to remain polite. Thank you. I hope you find happiness soon, too. Valentina didn't respond to me. Her eyes were locked on Sam. But there was no irritation in Sam's expression, just something complicated. Something I couldn't quite read. What are you doing here? He asked. Don't worry, Valentina said with a forced smile. I just came to see if I can't have you. The least I can do is offer my blessings. Valentina's expression was desolate, and even Sam didn't seem able to muster any harsh words. After she left, my best friend pulled me aside, grinning mischievously. Oh my God, did you see her face? That scared me to death. I really feel sorry for your Sam. Being haunted by someone like that for so long, he must have nightmares. I forced a smile, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't make it genuine. For some reason, I felt uneasy, like something had spiraled beyond my control. Quietly, I asked, Do you think Sam might like Valentina? His expression earlier had made me uncomfortable, though I couldn't pinpoint exactly why. It just felt like Sam's attitude toward Valentina had shifted. Are you serious? My best friend rolled her eyes at me. Come on. Sam's seen tons of beautiful women. If he liked Valentina, that would be a real shocker. Her, with her 5 feet 2 inches height, bow legs, and freckled face? Don't insult Sam like that. I clenched my hands tightly and took a deep breath. Of course. I was so much better than Valentina. I believed Sam would make the right choice. After all, we'd been together for 7 years. Our bond had grown deeper than mere romance. We were practically family. We were too intertwined to ever truly separate. I had to trust him. When it was time to toast in the private room with our classmates, I wore my engagement dress and held onto Sam's arm with a smile. Thank you all for being here tonight. Sam and I couldn't have come this far without your support. Not at all. This toast is for you too. We wish you a long and happy marriage. And may you have children soon. A male classmate laughed. Yeah, we've all watched Sam and Layla's journey. 7 years together, that's no small feat. You finally made it to the finish line. A female classmate smiled and chimed in. A perfect match. Truly. Back in high school, Sam and Layla were the talk of the school. The number of girls who liked Sam could circle the track. I used to wonder who could win him over. And in the end, it turns out you both got each other. You don't know the half of it, another male classmate teased. Sam had a huge crush on Layla for ages. Before confessing, he was so nervous he asked me for advice. The room was filled with laughter and smiles as everyone reminisced about our relationship. Everyone except Valentina, who stood in the corner, staring fixedly at Sam with a blank expression. Sam pretended not to notice, avoiding her gaze, but his smile was starting to look strained. All right, let's raise our glasses to this couple and wish them a lifetime of happiness, our class president said, lifting his glass, and everyone followed suit. Everyone but Valentina, who remained motionless and silent. The atmosphere turned awkward, and the class president quickly nudged her. Valentina, raise your glass. What are you waiting for? Valentina picked up her glass and downed it in one gulp, ignoring everyone else. She drank so quickly that the liquid dribbled down her chin, and she turned bright red, coughing and tearing up. Congratulations, Valentina rasped, lifting her head to look at Sam with a gaze filled with hopeless obsession. Her voice was hoarse. May you have a long and happy marriage. With that, she wiped her face and rushed out the door. The room fell silent, the festive atmosphere vanishing in an instant. The tension was palpable. Everyone knew our story. And after a moment of silence, they tried to smooth things over. Valentina probably had something to take care of. Come on, let's drink. But beside me, Sam was frozen, staring in the direction Valentina had fled, as if he hadn't heard a word the class president said. I bit my lip. Sam? He snapped back to reality. But instead of drinking, he looked anxious and said, I'll go check on her. He pushed my hand away and hurried out after her. My rival had run off crying, and my fiancé went chasing after her. In the middle of the large room, I stood there, feeling awkward and utterly ridiculous. Even the class president couldn't smooth things over this time. Everyone watched me quietly, waiting for my reaction. After a moment, I forced a smile. Everyone, please enjoy the food and drinks. I didn't even get to finish my sentence before my best friend burst through the door, her face drenched in sweat, shouting at the top of her lungs, Layla, you need to come out right now. Valentina's threatening to jump off the building. Chapter 3. What had started as a joyful engagement party descended into chaos, with everyone rushing out to see the drama unfold. I hiked up my dress and ran to the rooftop on the 7th floor. There, I found Valentina sitting on the railing, the wind whipping her hair into a disheveled mess. Her makeup was smeared from crying, making her look even worse. But Sam stood to the side, his fists clenched tightly, his face pale with fear. Valentina, we can talk about this. Just come down, he pleaded. Valentina glanced at him, letting the wind dry the tears at the corner of her eyes. She smiled weakly, her voice trembling. Sam, you're happy now, right? Engaged? Sam didn't answer, just stared at her, his gaze locked onto her every move. Behind me, people had gathered, whispering and pointing, but Valentina didn't seem to care. She swung her legs absent-mindedly, her mind seemingly elsewhere. Sam, I've liked you for 10 years. I've liked you since high school. Back then, when the teacher was assigning seats, none of the boys wanted to sit with me because I was ugly. I was standing there, so embarrassed, wishing the ground would swallow me up. You said you'd sit with me. I thought, you're so handsome. So many people like you, why would you sit with me? That's when I started liking you. Sam shouted. We can talk about this if you just come down. Valentina ignored him. But why are you with Layla? Just because she's prettier than me? Smarter than me? But I'm the one who loves you the most. Sam, I'm the one who loves you more than anyone else in this world. I changed my college application to follow you. Then I worked so hard to pull strings, to stay in the same city as you. I thought maybe you'd break up with Layla. Maybe then you'd notice me. But why did you have to get engaged to her? Unable to stand it anymore, my best friend shouted. What's wrong with you? They're engaged. Stop clinging to him, have some self-respect. Shut up, Sam roared as he turned around, his face twisted in anger. I had never seen him look so terrifying. My best friend froze, her eyes shifting toward me in silence. Valentina. Sam coaxed her softly. Whatever it is, come down and we'll talk about it, okay? Please, listen to me. His voice was so gentle, filled with affection, familiar yet foreign. Valentina smiled faintly, looking at Sam as her white dress billowed in the wind. Sam, I've loved you for 10 years. My whole life is wrapped around you. If I can't be with you, I don't see any reason to keep living. Now, she tilted her head slightly, a smirk playing on her lips. I'm giving you a choice. Either be with me and end this engagement, or, she gripped the railing and leaned back slightly. Watch me die right in front of you. If I can't have you, then at least I'll make sure you'll never forget me. The roof wasn't that high, just about 7 floors, but it was a drop of over 20 meters. Falling from that height would almost certainly be fatal. My hands started trembling at my sides as I looked at Sam, desperation filling my voice. Sam, please, don't. He turned to me, guilt etched on his face. After a long moment, he finally spoke. I'm sorry, Layla. Tears streamed down my face as I choked out. What about me? Sam lowered his head. I'm sorry, but I can't stand here and watch her die. I broke down, screaming, Why do you care if she dies? You've always hated her, haven't you? We've been together for 7 years. She's slit her wrists, taken sleeping pills, and threatened to jump more times than I can count. Sam, is Valentina the only one who matters? The only one who can feel pain? Am I not a person, too? Do I just have to stand here and accept that we'll always be 3 people in this relationship? As I fell apart, Valentina's smile grew wider. She looked at me like a victor, watching with smug satisfaction as the loser screamed helplessly. Sam, do you really not like me? Valentina's lips curled into a twisted smile, but her words were chilling. If you don't like me, then I'll just die. She made a move as if to let go of the railing. I like you. Sam, unable to hold back any longer, shouted, the words pouring out like they had been locked away for too long. Fine. I like you, okay? You win. Just come down. I'll call off the damn wedding. Is that what you want? Everyone, our classmates, our friends, was stunned. Quiet murmurs spread through the crowd as they watched the spectacle unfold. But Valentina was smiling. Tears mixed with laughter as she reached out her hand towards Sam. Without hesitation, Sam walked over and grabbed her hand. Valentina leaped down from the railing, grabbed Sam's arm, and together, they ran into the stairwell. Sam didn't hesitate. In an instant, the two of them disappeared from view. The wind whipped through the rooftop, where dozens of friends and classmates had gathered to celebrate. Now, their faces were full of confusion and disbelief. I felt their stares, unbearable and suffocating. I wanted to escape, but it was as if my feet were rooted to the ground, unable to move. After a while, people began awkwardly making excuses to leave, the tension too much to bear. Only my best friend stayed behind, worry etched on her face. Layla, are you okay? Don't feel bad. Maybe Sam is just too kind. He couldn't stand the thought of Valentina dying. It doesn't mean anything else. I spoke softly. You should go. I just want to be alone for a while. Okay, she said, biting her lip. But don't do anything drastic. I'll be downstairs if you need me. And then I was alone on the rooftop, standing in the wind. It was strange. I didn't feel heartbroken. Maybe I had seen this coming all along. Instead, I just felt empty, like something had been hollowed out inside me, leaving nothing but a void, cold and exposed to the wind. Chapter 4. I stood on the rooftop for a long time, letting the wind chill me to the bone before slowly making my way back down. A waiter hurried over. Miss, your husband left his phone here. My eyes felt dry as I looked down and saw the dark blue iPhone. Thank you. After so many years with Sam, I rarely checked his phone. We'd been together for so long, like family, and we trusted each other completely. But now, I couldn't shake the urge to see what was really on his phone. I unlocked it and opened WeChat. There was only one pinned conversation, and it wasn't mine. The contact was saved under the nickname Sweetie Annoying, a name that carried a tone of affection. I recognized the profile picture. It was Valentina. Everything around me faded into silence as my trembling fingers tapped into the chat. The conversation was long, so long that I couldn't scroll to the top. The earliest message was from last year. At that time, Sam's attitude toward Valentina was still harsh. His first message read, "Can you stop calling me already? I've told you, I have a girlfriend. I only like her. There's no chance for us. Don't you get that?" Valentina replied, "But I just like you." Sam snapped back, "Are you stupid?" For a while after that, there were no replies from Sam, just Valentina, sending one-sided updates about her life. Today on my way to work, I saw a little black cat. Its eyes were beautiful, but not as beautiful as yours. My boss is so annoying. He keeps giving me a hard time, and for such a low salary too. My colleague went to Disneyland and took such beautiful photos. I wish I could go with you. Valentina kept sending messages like these for a year, with Sam not replying to any of them. I understood why he didn't block her. Back then, blocking Valentina would have only led her to change her number and flood him with friend requests. Letting her talk to herself was less trouble in the end. But after a year, things began to change. On the first day back after New Year's, Valentina sent a message. "I think I have pneumonia. It's pretty bad. The doctor says I should be hospitalized. But I don't have enough money, so I'll just go home. 10 minutes later, Sam replied, "Are you crazy? You can't ignore pneumonia. How short are you?" For the first time, Sam acknowledged her, and Valentina was overjoyed. 6,000. What? Are you going to lend it to me? Without saying much, Sam transferred 6,000 yuan to her. As I looked at the timeline, I suddenly remembered Sam telling me at the beginning of the year that he had made a mistake at work and lost 6,000 yuan from his bonus. At the time, we had a joint account where we pooled our salaries. I comforted him, telling him it wasn't a big deal and that everyone makes mistakes, it was just money. Better to lose it than something worse. Sam had stared at me for a long time back then, and then he hugged me without saying a word, holding on for a long time. I thought he appreciated my understanding. Now, I realize it was probably guilt. My fingers felt cold, trembling as I scroll further down the conversation. Since Sam had responded, Valentina started messaging him even more. She shared everything, from big news like changing jobs and moving houses, to small things like what she ate for dinner. Sam's replies were still few, but even the smallest response from him made her ecstatic. And gradually, Sam's responses increased. When the weather turned cold, Valentina reminded him, "It's snowing today. Make sure to wear something warm." Sam replied, "Yeah, you too." Valentina complained, "They deducted my salary again this month. My boss is such a jerk. He just has it out for me." Sam responded by transferring 5,000 yuan to her. "If you're broke, just tell me. Stop living off instant noodles." "Valentina, I really want to go to Disneyland. Will you take me?" "Sam, I'm busy right now. Maybe later." Later, he even started reaching out to her first. "Is your boss still giving you trouble? I've got a referral at my place. Why don't you apply here? Did you buy clothes for New Year's yet? Let me take you shopping. You got your return ticket, right? Don't be so careless like before and miss your flight. Sweetie, have you eaten? Is your stomach acting up again?" The more I scrolled through the chat, the blurrier my vision became. He used to care for me like this. Once. When did we stop talking like this? It wasn't that he didn't want to share his life with me anymore, he just found someone else to share it with. Over the past 10 years, Valentina had crept into Sam's heart, little by little, like a frog being slowly boiled. And now she has taken my place. The hotel lobby was bustling with people, but the weight of this revelation drained me of all strength. I couldn't stand it anymore. A dull, wrenching pain began in my chest as I slowly crouched down, covering my face as silent sobs racked my body. At that moment, everything became clear. No wonder he always seemed so frustrated with Valentina around me, but would never refuse any of her demands. No wonder he left me so easily when she threatened to jump. He couldn't bear to see her suffer. The truth was, he had already fallen for her. How did this happen? I cried, on the verge of breaking down. We'd been together for so many years. How could Sam betray me like this? He actually fell for her. What did that make me? Just a fool in their 10-year love story? By the time I got home, it was already late. My eyes were swollen, and I felt like a zombie as I stumbled through the door. Sam was already there, sitting quietly on the sofa. He looked up at me, his expression conflicted, as if he wanted to say something but couldn't find the words. "Layla, he tried to explain, but I didn't listen. I threw the phone at him instead. The moment he saw the phone, he understood everything. "Layla, I'm sorry. I really hated her at first," he said, his head hanging low. "But she kept clinging to me, and over time, I just got used to it. Sometimes when she didn't message me, I felt like something was missing." He didn't get to finish. I cut him off with a bitter smile. My voice was thick with the aftermath of crying. "Sam, are you seriously about to tell me the story of your epic romance? Spare me the disgust, it's enough." I wiped away another tear and rasped, "You just want to break up, don't you? I'll do it for you." I wanted to say something sharp, but the tears wouldn't stop, making me feel utterly pathetic. Sam stood up, watching me, his expression full of pain. After a long pause, he whispered, "I'm sorry, Layla. It's my fault. Just leave." I closed my eyes as hot tears streamed down my face. Sam had already packed. He had come back only to break up with me. He didn't take much with him, leaving behind everything I had ever bought for him. With a small suitcase in tow, he walked out and shut the door. The sound of the door closing was heavy, and with that, I crumbled, sliding down the wall and sobbing uncontrollably. It hurt so much, it hurt more than I ever imagined. For 7 years, I never doubted we'd be together. In every future I envisioned, Sam was there. I pictured us getting married, having children, growing old together. I thought he felt the same way, but I didn't realize that his heart had already drifted away. In this game of 3, I was the one who lost, completely and utterly. Chapter 5. Valentina's 10-year crush had finally become a reality, and she was so thrilled that she couldn't wait to announce it to the world. She eagerly posted a photo of the two of them together. In the picture, they were gazing into each other's eyes, one handsome, the other plain, but somehow, there was a strange harmony between them, likely because their eyes were both filled with affection. "Time will show you who's really meant to be," she wrote. Valentina started working at Sam's company. They went to Disneyland together, kissed in front of the castle, and shared intimate moments in their hotel room. Sam even took her to look at wedding dresses. In a strange coincidence, or perhaps not, Valentina chose the exact same bridal shop I had picked, down to the very dress I had been eyeing. Her social media became a diary of their whirlwind romance, as if she wanted everyone to know about their 10-year-long love story, now burning brightly and passionately. I stared at it, emotionless, before deleting and blocking them both. The past 7 years felt like a dream that left a painful echo in its wake. When a relationship of 7 years ends in betrayal, it cuts deeper than a simple breakup. And the fact that he betrayed me with Valentina, someone I had always considered ugly and insignificant, added an extra layer of self-doubt. I lost all my confidence. I began to wonder if I was really as good as I had thought, if I was truly better than Valentina. Why would Sam leave me for her? It was a hard process to work through. We had been together for so long, visited so many places, shared so many experiences. The movies we watched together, the songs we listened to, the flower shop where he once surprised me with roses on the corner of the street. Every little detail tore at my broken heart. I went to the movies alone and watched the X3. At first, I laughed like an idiot, and then I cried like one. I didn't know what was happening to me. My heart seemed to have a mind of its own, and it hurt in ways I couldn't control. But I was powerless. All I could do was wait for the wound to heal on its own. The next time I saw Sam was outside my office building. We had chosen our companies because they were close together, making it easy to commute together. Now, I regret that decision. I was rushing to work when I saw Sam opening the car door for Valentina. She spotted me and smiled. But there was something smug about it, like it was meant to challenge me. "Layla, we're getting married soon. We'll send you an invitation, you have to come, okay? Oh, by the way, are you still single? Want me to introduce you to someone?" Valentina asked with a smirk. I shot her a cold glance and stayed silent. Sam looked uncomfortable, tugging at her arm. "That's enough." He avoided my gaze, muttering, "Sorry about that. What are you apologizing for?" Valentina frowned. "You guys broke up, right? It's not like you're married. What's the big deal about a breakup? Feelings can't be forced." "Sam, why are you even apologizing? What do you mean by that?" Her voice grew louder, and I noticed several of our colleagues turning their heads to watch. Sam's face turned red. "All right, fine. I'm sorry, okay? We're going to be late, let's go." He grabbed her arm, practically dragging her away in an awkward escape. Even as they left, Valentina couldn't resist turning around and waving, shouting, "Don't forget to come to the wedding." I clenched my fists, standing still for a while before finally walking away. A few days later, I received an unexpected call. It was from Sam's grandmother. I hesitated for a moment but eventually answered. Sam had introduced me to his family a long time ago. And although he turned out to be a jerk, his family had always treated me kindly, especially his grandmother. She adored me as her future granddaughter-in-law. Every time I visited, she gave me big red envelopes, and every year, she sent me New Year's money. When it was time for me to leave, she always held my hand, unwilling to let go. Layla, you're too skinny. You need to eat well. Girls should be a little fuller to have good fortune. She would send me home with fresh eggs, chickens she'd raised herself, and insisted, take these and make sure to eat well. They're all free range and full of nutrients. Don't give any to Sam. That boy is tough enough. He doesn't need it. She'd also watch the weather forecast for our city and call me regularly. It's going to rain tomorrow. Layla, don't forget to bring an umbrella when you go out. There's snow in the forecast. I bought you a thick down jacket. It should arrive soon. Layla, when will you come visit again? I've got a goose ready for you. It'll be delicious when you're back. This elderly woman treated me like her own granddaughter. I paused before softly answering, Grandma? Grandma's voice no longer had the strength it used to. It was weak, trembling. Layla, did you and that rascal Sam, did you two break up? She asked cautiously. I don't know why, but even though I hadn't cried in days, hearing her question made my eyes well up with tears. Grandma, I whispered. Yes, he fell for someone else. She was silent for a moment before letting out a long sigh. I could hear the pain in her voice. That boy, it's his loss. That little fool. Layla, you're a good girl. Your good fortune is still waiting for you. I closed my eyes, swallowing the lump in my throat. We spoke a little longer, and then she reluctantly hung up. Almost immediately, Sam called. I frowned as I answered. Hello? There was a brief silence before Sam spoke, sounding conflicted. Layla, Grandma's not doing well. The doctor says she only has a few days left. She really wants to see you, but she's too embarrassed to ask. Could you come visit her? Hearing his voice again, my first instinct was to refuse. I didn't want to have anything to do with Sam anymore, but the words caught in my throat. I couldn't say them. All I could think about was Grandma's frail hands tightly gripping mine whenever I left, asking, when are you coming back? Don't worry about money. Ask the family if you need it. Don't ever suffer in silence. I hesitated. Sam's voice wavered, as if he was on the verge of tears. Layla, I know I've hurt you, but Grandma really loves you. I'm begging you, don't let her go with any regrets, okay? I exhaled softly. Have you told Valentina? I didn't want to cause trouble with the way Valentina was about Sam. I could only imagine the chaos that would erupt if she found out I was visiting his family. Yeah, Sam said, his voice slightly distant. I told her. Fine. I sighed. But I'm not going with you. I'll drive myself. And with that, I hung up the phone. The next morning, I drove into the familiar village. As soon as I stepped through the door, Sam's parents greeted me with smiles. Though their expressions were somewhat strained, Sam's father tried to keep the mood light. Grandma's in the other room. Layla, go on in. She's been asking about you. I entered the room to find Sam already kneeling by the bed, holding his grandmother's hand, his eyes red and swollen. You're here? He rasped, turning to look at me. She's been asking for you. I felt a lump in my throat as I walked over, softly whispering, Grandma, it's Layla. I'm here. The last time I saw Grandma, she was still a spirited woman, dyeing her hair black and excitedly talking about making me goose stew. But now, her hair was completely gray, and she looked so frail. Her eyes were clouded, and her mind seemed hazy as she reached out to me, her voice weak. Layla, is that you? You've come home? Have you eaten? I have. I ate before coming. I choked out, fighting back tears. You've lost weight again. You must not be eating properly. She struggled to speak. I've been saving the fresh eggs for you. Don't forget to eat them. I couldn't hold back my tears any longer, my throat tight with emotion. Take care of yourself. I still want to see you two have a big, healthy baby. If it looks like Layla, it'll be beautiful. She had forgotten all about the breakup. Her voice wheezed, like a leaky bellows. When are you planning to have a child? I wiped away my tears, unable to respond. Next to me, Sam was crying as he replied, Soon, Grandma. This year, you'll see your great-grandchild. Just hold on a little longer. Grandma smiled, satisfied. Just as she was about to speak again, suddenly, a cold voice echoed from behind. You're planning to have a child? Why didn't I know about this? I was stunned, turning in shock. Valentina stood at the doorway, wearing a bulky black down jacket. Her face twisted in fury. She looked like a grim reaper, her expression dark and menacing. She curled her lips into a mocking smile. Sam, what exactly do you mean by this? Behind her, Sam's parents hurried in, clearly embarrassed. Sam, this young lady says she's your girlfriend. What's going on here? Sam's face paled as he jumped to his feet, panic in his eyes. Let me explain. But Valentina wasn't interested in hearing explanations. Her face contorted with rage as she marched forward and slapped him hard across the face. Smack! The loud sound of the slap echoed through the room, leaving everyone in shock. Sam! Her voice screeched like nails on a chalkboard, high-pitched and grating, laced with a kind of suppressed madness. How dare you bring this bitch home behind my back? Sam, desperate, tried to explain. Please, just listen to me. There's nothing between us. Grandma just wanted to see Layla. I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to overthink. But Valentina wasn't listening. She erupted. I gave up going to a university just so I could attend a lower-tier school in the same city as you. After graduation, I didn't go home. I stayed here. All for you. For 10 years. I've taken care of you. I cooked for you. Washed your clothes. I've never even dated anyone else because I've been waiting for you. I've slit my wrists. I've jumped off buildings. I've clung to you like a dog with no dignity, and this is how you repay me? I was frozen in place. 4 years. I thought Valentina had pursued Sam willingly, out of some twisted devotion. I never imagined she harbored such resentment, and I certainly never thought Sam hadn't told Valentina he was bringing me here. But Sam wasn't moved. His face was full of frustration and thinly veiled anger. You've said this 100 times. And for the love of God, I never asked you to do any of it. If you didn't want to, you could have left. It was like he had struck a hornet's nest. Valentina's face turned crimson, and she exploded with fury, her veins bulging in her forehead as she screamed. Sam, you lying bastard. I'm telling you now, you owe me for the rest of your life. If you ever betray me, I'll kill you. She lunged at him, fists flying in a wild frenzy, with Grandma right behind them. I rushed forward to break them apart. But Valentina turned her wrath on me. You bitch! She shrieked, her face twisted in hatred, her eyes narrowed into slits. It's all your fault. You seduced him. Don't you have any shame? I'll rip your face off. Why don't you just go and die? I never could have imagined Valentina was like this before. I only thought she was too stubborn, chasing Sam for so many years, but I didn't realize that all these years of one-sided devotion had turned her into someone so deeply repressed. She was acting like a madwoman, like a completely unhinged person. Valentina swung at me, and Sam's parents rushed in to stop her. Valentina was much stronger than she looked. Sam's mother, a frail woman, was knocked to the ground with a hard slap to her chest, letting out a cry of pain as she stumbled. That was the final straw for Sam, his eyes red with fury. He slapped Valentina across the face. Have you had enough? I haven't. The slap only fueled Valentina's rage, and she attacked Sam with reckless abandon. Behind them, Sam's grandmother, terrified, struggled to speak, but her breath caught in her throat, her face turning an alarming shade of purple. I glanced over at her, a wave of panic washing over me. Stop fighting! Stop it now! Grandma's in trouble. Someone call 120. It had started snowing, and the ambulance was delayed. By the time the paramedics arrived and loaded Grandma onto the stretcher, her condition had worsened. She clung to my hand, tears streaming down her face. Behind us, Valentina was still pulling at Sam, refusing to let go. Sam tried to break free to see his grandmother, but Valentina held on tight, her fury unrelenting. I was sobbing uncontrollably, gripping Grandma's hand as tightly as I could. Don't worry about me, Grandma. I'll be okay. I'll take care of myself. Only then did she release my hand, allowing herself to be lifted into the ambulance. 5 minutes later, she passed away on the way to the hospital, her heart forever still. Chapter 6. After the incident that caused Grandma's death, Sam and Valentina's relationship completely fell apart. It was shocking. Really, just a couple of months ago, they were inseparable, constantly posting about each other on social media. During a slow moment at work, my friend sent me a message. Hey, did you hear that Sam and Valentina are having major issues? I could practically see the gleeful smirk on her face through the screen. She didn't even wait for my reply before sending a flood of messages. Valentina is seriously crazy. Her personality is so twisted, and she's got this insane possessiveness. You couldn't tell at first when they got together, but it didn't take long before she started treating Sam like he was her servant. If he stayed late for work or went out for dinner, she'd blow up his phone like crazy. It's terrifying. You know our classmates who came to visit a while ago? Well, Sam took them out to dinner, and Valentina called him 17 times that night to get him to come home. Sam was embarrassed, so he turned off his phone. But guess what? She had installed a tracking app on his phone and stormed in. A few months ago, I would have thought that was impossible, but after what happened last time, nothing Valentina did surprised me anymore. I texted back. What happened after that? Well, she showed up and caused a huge scene. Of course, I heard she slapped Sam in front of everyone and accused him of betraying her. She went on and on about how much she'd sacrificed for him, saying his conscience must have gone to the dogs. She even threatened to drag him down with her if he ever crossed her. It was pretty terrifying. Oh, and get this, she cursed out one of our classmates too. She told him he was a bad influence on Sam and that if anything happened to Sam, she'd hold him responsible. She even banned him from hanging out with Sam again. I frowned, thinking that this was exactly the kind of thing Valentina would do. Her obsession over the years had clearly warped her mind. Sam might have been fine as long as they weren't together, but the moment they officially started dating, she unleashed all the control she had been bottling up for a decade. In Valentina's mind, her love and sacrifice were absolute. Anything less than total submission from Sam was a betrayal, and that made her a ticking time bomb. But the more tightly you hold on, the faster things slip through your fingers. Their relationship had become nothing more than mutual torment. The more Valentina acted out, the further Sam was pushed away, and the further he distanced himself, the more Valentina felt wronged, escalating her actions into something even more unhinged, forcing him to submit. It was a vicious cycle. Sooner or later, Sam wouldn't be able to take it anymore. My friend messaged me again. That poor classmate of ours got an earful from Valentina out of nowhere. He was so mad. He vented to a group of us. Honestly, Sam's reputation is in tatters now. None of his friends or coworkers want to deal with him anymore. If they do, they're asking for trouble. It's always followed by a barrage of insults from Valentina. Honestly, isn't this karma? Serves him right for being so blind in the first place. He brought this on himself. I was about to reply when one of my coworkers suddenly gasped. Oh my God, is someone about to jump from the building across the street? Following her gaze, I looked out the window, and there, standing on the edge of the building across from us, was a figure. I couldn't see the face clearly, but I instantly knew who it was. Valentina. A jolt of shock ran through me, and I shot up from my seat. Come on, we need to go check this out. My coworker grabbed my arm, pulling me along as we rushed downstairs. Outside, the area was already packed with onlookers, all gossiping and sharing whatever information they had, regardless of whether they knew her or not. I heard it's over a breakup, an older woman said excitedly, her eyes gleaming. The guy wants to end it, but the girl's not having it, so now she's threatening to jump. A younger man next to her scoffed. Jumping over a breakup? That's emotional blackmail. If someone doesn't love you anymore, you should be allowed to break up. The girl beside him frowned. You can't say that. If he didn't like her, why did he get with her in the first place? Why push someone to this point? I scanned the crowd, my heart pounding, and that's when I saw him. That familiar silhouette, one I'd known for over 2,000 days and nights. It was Sam. Compared to the last time I saw him, Sam seemed so much more worn out, like he had shrunk inside his own clothes. His white shirt billowed loosely in the wind, giving him an almost hollow appearance. The building across from us was only 6 stories high, so we could clearly hear Valentina's furious screams. Sam, you're not even human. I gave up everything for you, and now you think you can just walk away after having your fun? Her eyes bulged with anger, making her look almost monstrous. "You're dreaming. You're insane," Sam snapped back, his eyes bloodshot and his face contorted with frustration. "I don't like you anymore, all right? I don't want to be with you. Is that so hard to understand?" "That's bull." Valentina was beside herself, raging like a wild animal. "Then why did you break up with that bitch for me?" "It's because she seduced you, isn't it?" Sam was nearing his breaking point, his voice hoarse and desperate. "I was out of my mind. I was blind, okay? If I had known you were like this, I never would have broken up with Layla." That last sentence was like a match to gasoline. Valentina's face twisted into a grotesque mask of fury. "You think you can dump me and go back to that bitch? Over my dead body? Go ahead and die. Then, just die already." Sam completely lost it, screaming at the top of his lungs. "We've been together for a few months, and you've threatened to die hundreds of times. So do it now. Right now." I stood there in shock, watching Sam like he was a stranger. He seemed like a man possessed, a shell of the confident, charming person I once knew. What had happened to him over these past few months? How had he changed so much? Weren't they together because they were in love? Valentina kept threatening to jump, but I knew she wouldn't. She had made these kinds of threats so many times before. Back when Sam and I were together for those 7 years, she never actually meant it. For over an hour, they hurled insults and accusations back and forth, locked in a standoff. I thought it would end like all the other times, with nothing more than shouting. But then, something unexpected happened. Valentina had been standing on the ledge for so long that her legs must have gone numb. Suddenly, she slipped. Ah! In a horrifying instant, she screamed and plummeted from the roof, her voice piercing the stunned silence as everyone watched in shock. 2 seconds later, there was a dull thud. Valentina hit the ground hard. "Ah! Help! Someone's dead. Call 911. The crowd erupted into chaos. Sam stood frozen in shock for a moment before stumbling forward, half running, half crawling toward her. The ambulance arrived quickly, and several paramedics lifted Valentina onto a stretcher and into the vehicle. The flashing red lights sped away, carrying her into the night. I couldn't believe this was how things had turned out. It took me a while to snap out of it, standing there dazed before I finally followed my coworkers back inside. None of my colleagues knew that Sam was my ex-boyfriend since I'd never been the type to post much on social media. On the way back, they were still chattering in disbelief. That guy was good-looking, though. What was he doing with a woman like her? She was both ugly and crazy. What was he thinking? Another coworker chimed in. Maybe her family's rich or something. Then why were they breaking up? Probably because she was too ugly, and he couldn't take it anymore. Did you see her? Acne scars and pockmarks all over her face. If I had to sit across from her at a dinner table, I don't think I'd be able to eat. She just jumped off a building, and you're still talking like that? Have some decency. Chapter 7. What happened next? I heard from my best friend. Valentina, miraculously, survived. But survival came at a cost. She didn't make it out unscathed. The fall severely damaged her spine, leaving her paralyzed from the neck down. In simple terms, she was bedridden for life. Sam paid for her medical expenses and stayed by her side until she was discharged from the hospital. But after that, he couldn't take it anymore. He wanted to break up with her. That's when things got even worse. Valentina's family refused to let him go. After all, it was clear what kind of family raised someone like Valentina. They blamed Sam for everything, insisting that he was responsible for their daughter's condition. They demanded he pay 3 million yuan in compensation and take care of Valentina for the rest of his life. Even marry her. Sam's family wasn't short of money. Although he hadn't asked for financial help since he graduated, his parents couldn't ignore something this serious. Their stance was clear. They were willing to negotiate the compensation. But marriage? Absolutely not. After all, Valentina had driven Sam's grandmother to her death. His parents despised her and would never let her into their family, especially now that she was paralyzed. If Sam were to marry her, his entire life would be ruined, and they couldn't allow that. But Valentina's family wouldn't back down. They were dead set on making Sam responsible. They even threatened to take him to court, ruin his reputation. and ensure he would never have peace. The two families were locked in a bitter conflict. I heard Sam's on the verge of a mental breakdown. My friend said with a laugh she couldn't suppress it. One of our classmates visited him recently. They said his eyes were vacant. He hasn't shaved, and he's like a walking zombie. After hanging up, I felt a strange mix of emotions. By now, I wasn't in the same heart-wrenching pain as I was when we first broke up. It had taken time, but I realized that what dulls the pain isn't just time itself, it's habit. You get used to being with someone, and when that person is suddenly gone, it feels like a part of you has been ripped away, leaving you in unbearable pain. But slowly, as the wound heals, you get used to being alone. It stops hurting as much. It's terrifying how quickly time can erase everything. 7 years spent together, shadowing each other through life. And yet, just a few months later, it all fades away. When we first broke up, I was full of hatred, hoping Sam and Valentina would suffer as much as I had. I wanted them to feel the same pain, to get what they deserved. But now, as their lives fell apart, I didn't feel the satisfaction I thought I would. Instead, I just felt empty. Life is unpredictable. A few months ago, Sam and I were the closest people in each other's lives. I was planning my future with him, excited to become his wife. Now, just 2 seasons later, everything had changed. As I walked up to my apartment that evening, I was startled to see someone crouched by my front door. I froze for a moment, but as I got closer, I realized it was Sam. He looked so different that I barely recognized him. In just a few days, he seemed to have lost even more weight. His eyes were sunken, with deep dark circles underneath, and his face was scruffy with an unkempt beard. He looked like he had been completely drained of life. Hearing my footsteps, he turned his head toward me, his movements slow and lifeless. Before he could even say a word, tears started to spill from his bloodshot eyes. I felt a pang in my chest, but I kept my face cold and distant. "What are you doing here?" I asked sharply. Sam's voice was hoarse, as though it had been scraped raw by sandpaper. "Layla." His eyes were red as he spoke. "If I told you I regret it now, would that be too shameless?" I looked down at him, standing tall. "At least you know." But he stiffened, his arms slowly wrapping around his head as he started to sob. "But I really do regret it. I regret it so much. I had everything, and now it's all gone. Why did it turn out like this?" Despite everything, I had loved him once, and his words brought tears to my own eyes. But I forced them back and whispered, "These were your choices, weren't they? I begged you once, but you still chose her over me." Sam's voice cracked as if he was being torn apart inside. His hands, clutching his head, turned white with tension, the veins bulging on the back of his hands. "She chased me so relentlessly. At first, I hated her for it, but then I started to feel moved by how much she loved me. She gave everything she had for me, and I began to pity her. That pity made me respond to her. And then I thought I was in love with her. But after we got together, I realized I wasn't. The feelings I thought were love were just gratitude. And gratitude doesn't turn into love. After we got together, she changed. She started watching me all the time, checking my phone every day. She deleted all the women in my contacts. She called and threatened my female coworkers, telling them to stay away from me. She even cursed at my male friends, telling them not to invite me anywhere. He broke down completely, his voice choked with emotion. That's when I realized I don't love her at all. I used to feel sorry for her, but now, every time I see her face, I feel nothing but anger. I don't even want to stay home anymore. After work, I sit in the car for hours trying to summon the courage to go inside. It was like a dam had burst. He poured out everything he had been holding inside, his voice desperate and broken. I wanted to break up with her, but she wouldn't let me. She always threatens me. I never thought things would turn out like this. I didn't want this. What am I supposed to do now? Sam's voice broke as he sobbed uncontrollably, his body trembling like a bowstring on the verge of snapping. I regret it so much. I had everything. Why was I so foolish? If we hadn't broken up, we'd probably be married by now, right? I've imagined it so many times, what you'd look like in a wedding dress. His voice cracked as he cried out in agony. I thought I would feel sad hearing him like this. But instead, I had just one thought. He's crying harder now than I did when he broke my heart. Finally, he's feeling the pain I felt. Sam didn't seem to need any response from me. He just needed someone to listen to him spill out all his regrets. After a long pause, he lifted his head, his eyes swollen and red. There was a hint of desperation and fragile hope in his voice as he cautiously asked, "Layla, could we?" "No," I cut him off coldly, not even letting him finish. "What do you think I am? A garbage collector?" Sam's face instantly drained of color. "Just leave," I said, my voice emotionless. "I'm going home. I've given you more chances than you deserved. And each time you chose Valentina, the path you chose was your own. Now, you have to live with the consequences." Sam was silent for a moment. Then he slowly pushed himself up, using the wall for support. A bitter, hollow smile twisted his lips. "You're right," he said, his voice hoarse. "Saying this now, I disgust myself. But if I didn't ask, I'd never stop wondering." The motion sensor light in the hallway flickered off after a moment of silence, plunging the stairwell into darkness. Sam slowly made his way down the stairs. When he reached the bottom step, he turned back to look at me, silhouetted against the endless night behind him. "Layla," he said, his voice quiet. "I'm a bastard. I deserve everything that's happening to me now. But you're amazing." His voice cracked, tears choking his words. "Don't let me make you sad. You'll meet someone 1,000, 10,000 times better than me." With that, he turned and walked away. I stood there, watching his retreating figure, unable to say a word. Chapter 8. After that, I never heard from Sam again. I didn't know if he had left with Valentina or what had become of him. And honestly, I no longer cared. Slowly, I began to move on. And when I looked back on the past, all that remained were sighs of reflection. Those 7 years felt like a dream. The first half was sweet, but the latter half was bitter, almost unbearable. But no matter how it went, the dream had ended, and it was time for me to continue moving forward. Placing a bouquet of lilies in front of Grandma's grave, I stood up and whispered softly, "Grandma, I'm doing well now. You can rest easy." The cemetery was quiet. The only sound was the wind gently swirling past my ears. The deep winter had passed, and around the cemetery, the forsythia bushes were already eager, sprouting their first buds of the season. I wrapped my coat tightly around me and walked away. Winter had come to an end, and spring was just around the corner.